In the last analysis of the Xindi War, we broke down the sacrifice and morally gray decisions that arises during this conflict. Today, we're going to be analyzing a few things that don't necessarily make a ton of sense. Let's get into it. In Enterprise's Carpenter Street, Daniels appears and tasks both Jonathan Archer and T'Pol with traveling back in time to stop 3 Xindi who are trying to create a toxin that will kill all of humanity. These reptilians are creating a disease that is specifically designed to target the individual blood types of various humans. This does bring up a few questions, which they try to answer, kind of. Like, for instance, why isn't Daniels taking care of the issue himself?
It took him a long while to get permission to interact with me. There are clearances. He said it would take too much time.
And why is there a rush for a time traveler?
I would think he would have all the time in the world.
He said the 3 Xindi traveled to Earth from our century.
That's not an answer, it's just bringing up the fact that there's a problem. However, if I had to guess, I do think that this only reinforces my theory that the time agents are more morally ambiguous than they let on. At the end of the episode, not only does the NX-01 crew get to keep the virus and analyze it, but they also keep the Xindi and the Xindi technology. This is quite a win for Archer. It's also something that an organization, like the Temporal Police, that are just trying to quote-unquote restore the timeline, might be against. So either this was done off the books by Daniels, who let them keep everything, or the organization is just playing the NX-01 crew to get what they want. I guess it could be a form of 4D chess where they are doing it to even the odds, but this is extremely messy. Also, you can't really tell me that getting Archer and T'Pol to go back in time to stop the Xindi has less paperwork than sending an agent to do the same thing. Since it's a temporal incursion, you would think that they'd have a pretty quick turnaround time on addressing these facts. Or, again, and I can't stress this enough, they are agents of time. They can actually do this at their leisure. Regardless, sent back in time, Jonathan and T'Pol would be, and after some wacky fish out of water hijinks, AA, which includes not seeing a dog in a car even when they had scanners that would clearly detect it, putting a car in the wrong gear and driving it, likely destroying the engine, and robbing an ATM, the two finally find out that the Xindi are paying a man to collect all of the different blood samples from individual humans. Why the Xindi didn't just go to a blood bank and get what they needed versus having a man become a body snatcher, I'll never know. But anyway, this guy would bring the Xindi knocked out humans, and the aliens would test the different blood types to create the virus. Archer and T'Pol find out about it, and they capture the would-be villain. Jonathan goes in undercover and ultimately discovers the Lab of Badness. There isn't a lot to talk about when it comes to Jonathan and T'Pol stopping these guys, except for one small piece. At the end, when Jonathan has the Xindi dead to rights, the Xindi states that the humans will not destroy their people. Why Jonathan doesn't try to reason with him, or why the crew never goes out of their way to send messages that humanity has no want or need to fight, is beyond me. I know there are little points here and there where they try to convince people, but they don't really make a go of it. They simply just try to find and stop the weapon, versus also diplomatic routes. Honestly, I feel like the NX-01 Enterprise and even the United Earth did a pretty poor job of trying to convey that they don't want to fight anyone, and they won't even in the future. But anyway, as stated, the NX-01 gets all of the tech, including the Xindi, and everybody moves forward. I know there's not a lot here, but there's not a lot to the episode. It's a part of the Xindi War, but effectively it's filler, so there's not a ton to add. Things will be heating up, though, in the near future, so stay tuned. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.